Hi, I'm Gina.
And I'm Jenn.
And this is Job Search Stories.
And today we're going to talk about what you should actually put on your resume.
Okay, well, let's get into this. So I feel like this is another hot topic. People are always asking us questions about this. Speaking of which, okay, so Leo asks, I have completed thousands of applications, not one interview. It's getting seriously frustrating. How can I make sure my resume stands out, grabs the attention of employers, and doesn't end up in the job application abyss? This is a good question.
Yeah, the kind of application black hole is what we typically refer to it as. And it's a horrible place to be. And I think we've all been there at some point. So I get it, Leo, and I'm ready to talk about this.
I'll start with that resume.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think overall, you and I have both seen a lot of resumes in different ways. Mm-hmm. I have hired people, and you're a career coach, and you've also hired people. So I feel like this is a good time to kind of talk about some things that we've both seen on resumes before.
Something that I see people do, especially when they're drafting their resume, is they want to create a document that stands out, right? Like they want to be noticed. They don't want to be in the black hole. And so sometimes in their efforts to stand out, they might be standing out for the wrong reasons. It's not always a good reason. So me personally, I don't like to see hobbies or like interests on a resume. Sometimes if they're directly related to the job, like if you're applying to work in an outdoor like sporting goods type of store and you put your hobbies are hiking or canoeing. Okay, that I can see it's a direct fit. But if you're putting hiking and canoeing on your resume and you're applying to be like a software developer, it's not as impactful.
I really don't like seeing like spelling mistakes. There's so many tools to not like make spelling mistakes. You should take the extra consideration to make sure you're like not putting any spelling mistakes like on your resume.
Yeah, it's hard to say that you have a high attention to detail and then your resume is filled with spelling errors, right?
It's just, and there's so many tools. You can have another person look at it, you know, just, I hate seeing spelling mistakes.
The resources out there.
Yeah.
The other one that really stands out to me is, you know, links are really good to have if you're linking to a professional portfolio or your website. I did work with one candidate once who had a link to their personal website. However, when I clicked it and started looking at it, it was maybe halfway constructed. You could tell it was not fully fleshed out. It had a lot of those spelling and grammatical errors. If you're going to put it on your resume, like make sure it looks good, because if it's a link, people are going to click it.
Just check your resume. Make sure it looks good. Anyways, you know, we want to know, have you ever just made a huge mistake on your resume? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, please ask us your questions. And also, if you've ever seen someone's resume and been like, ooh, this is not a good resume, leave a comment. Anyways, so Jenn, you're always helping me with my resume. Like anytime I need a little tweak, anytime I want to apply for like a new job, I just send it to you so it'll look good. But like, what do people that don't have a Jenn do? Yeah.
Okay. So what can other people do? That makes sense.
They have a Jenn.
I mean, you'll have me.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Ask us questions.
In the comments, but
back to it. So essentially you're asking, what are some tips to get your resume noticed? What is going to help you most if you want to boost your resume is to look for those opportunities in which you can include keywords from the job description. We sometimes call them ATS keywords, but it's essentially the inclusion of those skills, experience, attributes that the employer is looking for, and they're looking for it on your resume. So that's what you can do to boost it.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to that, the job description, how important are those keywords that are in the job description, especially for your favorite thing? I don't even know if it's your favorite. You just talk about it a lot. I think you should be the spokesperson for the ATS. But yeah, how important are keywords from the job description for the ATS?
They're incredibly important. You know, the hiring manager and the company have essentially told you what they're looking for, right? They've put it all out there for you. So you're really looking at that as a guide to say, you know, do I have this many years of experience? Do I have these skills?
Yeah.
And if I do, and I don't have them on my resume, well, then that's your cue to put it on there. And if you're just starting out, and let's say you're not even like at the point where you have a company that you want to apply for, right? You don't even know where you want to submit an application, but you know the type of role you're looking for. Good thing that you can do is pull up 3 to 5 job descriptions for that role title and look for the commonalities, right? Look for those skills that you're seeing across multiple, or that experience that you're seeing posted across multiple, because that's going to tell you, okay, to be successful in this type of role, this is what most employers are going to be looking for.
That's a good idea. I never thought about that, because like I feel like most job descriptions for like the same role are essentially the same.
And not all job descriptions are created equal, right?
Yeah.
Some employers do a really great job at crafting a really thorough and detailed job description.
Right.
And then some just have like 3 bullet points. So you really got to do some comparison and do a little bit of research.
I remember one of the episodes we did before, and it was like, do you even read job descriptions? And I was like, no. And everybody came for me. And I was like, I'm just like you guys. I'm just like a normal girl like everybody else. You know?
You read them now, though?
No.
Still a no.
I will never change. I'm set in my ways. I'll always be the same. Okay, so we've kind of talked about how to like boost your resume, just like those important things that you should include, especially if you're trying to get past that ATS. I think that's like something that a lot of people are asking about, and things that people really, really, really need to understand. Now, let's talk about education. How do you share your education on your resume? And then I'll talk about how, I share mine, because I think we probably do it in different ways.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So my education is at the bottom of my resume.
Okay.
I include my certifications with it. So you'll see the college that I graduated from. No year of graduation.
Okay.
Wasn't past that. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Also include the degree that I have.
Yeah.
And then I also include my career coaching certification.
Okay. So I also put mine at the bottom. No certifications, but I do have 2 degrees. So I do put the years, because I have 2. So I'm just like.
Are both your degrees relevant?
It depends on the role.
Okay. So would you say that you always keep both degrees on there?
Sometimes I'm like, I went through it to get those degrees. I went through it to get 2 degrees. But no, only if it's relevant, like to the role. Like if I feel like if putting the 2nd degree is relevant to me. And also if they're like, how we just talked about like, oh, I don't have a lot of experience. I'm like, but I do have 2 degrees.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that is experience. I think about my sister who's an accountant. She actually has 3 degrees. So she has her master's in accounting, her bachelor's in accounting, and she has a bachelor's in astrophysics. When she's applying to accounting roles, she takes off the astrophysics degree because it's not really relevant.
Yeah.
So I'll just say education is important, but if it's not relevant to the role, feel free to drop it.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's important at all to include your education? Or do you feel like sometimes you can just throw it out the window?
No, listing education on a resume is really important.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're giving some insight into it becomes like part of the level of experience that you have. And I see people sometimes who don't necessarily want to include it if they haven't completed a program, or maybe they started in college and then didn't finish it then.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, it is really important because sometimes it's a requirement of the job. And so it's really easy to think like, well, I did, a high school diploma. Lots of people have them.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to put it on there. But if it's a requirement and you didn't include it, well, then, you're kind of missing out on meeting what they're looking for.
I mean, there's like a lot of discourse about like, are they even going to check? You know what I mean? Like some people are like, oh, like what if I just put that I graduated from this college? Like, are they going to check?
I mean, I'm of the camp that honesty is the best policy, right?
Of course. But
how thorough are their background checks? I don't know. Maybe it depends on the company. But I think that's why it's really important to stress that if you started, go ahead and put that on there too. Like you can be really honest and transparent about how much of a program you really completed.
Yeah. How do you feel like people who are currently in school or a recent grad should present their education? Like, I think there's a difference, obviously, between applying for an internship or applying for like, you know, an entry level role, like how do you think they should present that education on their resume?
Well, I mean, firstly, it's formatted differently. So if you're a recent graduate or if you're still in school, your education is actually going to be at the top of the resume. So you'll still have your professional summary, but before you get into work experience, that's what you'll include, education. And if you're currently enrolled and completing a program, all you put is the university name or the program name, and then expected graduation or expected completion. The same with if you recently completed it, you can still put the year it was completed. But essentially, after like 3 years, it's not really the most important thing about you. So you can move that to the bottom of the resume.
Right, right. Do you feel like it's like a red flag if a candidate puts like a program or like education if they didn't actually complete that program?
No, I don't. I mean, life happens, right? Sometimes we start programs or start school and, you know, we have to take a little bit of a break or we don't necessarily get to be back into it. But that doesn't negate what you've learned, right? Like that knowledge didn't just go away. And so that should really be reflected on your resume. But you want to be truthful, right? So again, you might only put the years you attended or the number of credit hours that you received. But I mean, you can still showcase what you learned in like a project section or like a coursework section where, you know, you can still display everything.
Yeah. I mean, that's great advice. You're so smart.
You should follow it.
I mean, I graduated. I have 2 degrees, remember?
That's right. You still have
2 degrees. I mean,
so in addition to having your education on your resume, it's also really important to showcase your skills. And not just any skills. You want to be showcasing the right ones, right?
Relevant skills. Like,
relevant
I'm
skills.
not going to be like, I really know how to make a good, like, dinner, you know? When
I
I'm
honestly
like,
thought you were going to say grilled cheese.
I mean, I can make a killer grilled cheese. The trick is mayonnaise and butter on the bread when you toast it.
Pro tip.
Vegan butter and vegan mayonnaise. Anyways, no, like relevant skills for sure.
No, they need to be relevant. And there are a lot of different skills that you can use that showcase different parts of your experience.
Right, right. I mean, I feel like we say this a lot, like on our channel, and it's like all over, you know, the blogs and all that stuff. Hard skills, soft skills. I don't know if I actually know the difference. Like, I really don't think I do. So you tell me and I'll see if that was actually in my brain.
Okay, we're going to check what you know about hard and soft skills. So essentially, if you're thinking about what a hard skill is, a hard skill is a skill that you gain through either technical training or through on-the-job experience, right? So for example, if you were a cashier or even a server, you might know point of sale systems. Point of sale systems is a hard skill. If you're a software developer, you know coding languages. If you're an accountant, you probably know QuickBooks. So those are really like examples of hard skills that you could pick up or, you know, learn on your own. Soft skills are really the traits that talk about how you do the work. So a lot of these might be things like communication or teamwork or empathy. And some of the most common soft skills that you might see on a resume are just those things, right? Leadership is a good example of one. And leadership is kind of a combination of a lot of different skills. But they're some of the most sought after transferable skills that employers are looking for.
Right, right. I mean, okay, I guess I like know that then.
You knew it.
Yeah. But like if someone asked me on like a test or something, I would get it wrong.
Still?
I was never a good test taker.
But you have 2 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah, I imagine with that, you took a lot of tests.
They were research-based degrees. So what do you feel like currently are the skills, whether they're, I feel like hard skills are kind of harder to talk about, but what are those skills that are in demand for employers right now? I think the world of work is kind of changing. So there's probably skills that employers are looking for more and more.
Yeah, well, it's actually really interesting because I know we'll talk about this later, but even when we talk about the impact of AI and what kind of changes we'll see to the workforce and what employers are looking for, it's really interesting to note that soft skills are what employers are looking for. And especially when you think about AI, ChatGPT is not human, right? So the type of work that AI can do, it's that human element that's missing. So empathy, communication, leadership, teamwork, or even like the skills that somebody would need to be able to perform jobs in person.
Yeah.
That's really what employers are looking for.
Beautiful. They just want all of us to come together and hold hands and be nice to each other and create beautiful things.
They just want like a really calm, productive workplace.
Not me. I'm an agent of chaos. I'm trying to shake things up. Anyways, I feel like you gave some great tips. So once again, I just want to say in 60 seconds, just give me your top tips for how you can make your resume stand out and what people should actually put on their resume for recruiters to notice them.
All right. So to have your resume stand out to a recruiter, you should definitely include a professional summary that is tailored for the role. Sell yourself to them, right? Include your education because it could be a requirement. And if you've done it, you should show it off. And you should also look at including the keywords from the job description. So as you're researching the role or, looking at the job description before you submit that application, make sure that you're checking out the preferred skills or the requirements, and you have those ones that you have included on your resume so that the ATS picks it up and it ranks you higher.
That's it. Make sure to leave a comment down below so we can answer even more of your questions. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye. Jen's being too professional. I'm matching her energy.
I'm a professional girl.
Just searching for those jobs.
We're searching. There you go.
Treasure. I want some treasure. They better put that as one of the bloopers of us just being like,